Welcome to Ukrainian Connections. My name is Cathy Harris, Katrusia Parashchi Harris. I welcome you to the show where we share about Ukrainian connections in Thunder Bay, Northwestern Ontario, and Canada. Connections about the art, history, different stories about our Ukrainian lives. In each show, I like to show some different artifacts. And today, with our theme talking about Christmas and the Christmas holiday season, we have quite a bit of beautiful artifacts here. Behind me on the bookshelf, we have some beautiful dolls and storybooks that children might receive on St. Nicholas Day. We also have beautiful icons on the shelves and on the wall in the middle above our beautiful fireplace. And we have our Christmas Eve dinner set in the middle, and we'll be explaining that later. We have a manger scene, which we also call vertap, to my right. And we also have a display of how we're going to make kutia today on another table. And then on the far bookshelf, you may see a peculiar animal on the top. And that is a goat that we will be talking about when we describe the Malonka ceremonies. I hope you enjoy our show today, and I'd like to introduce our guest. Welcome, Oksana. This is Oksana Hamar. If you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Oksana. I was born in Ukraine, and I was named by my grandmother's name, Oksana. Actually, it can be called Ksenia too. I moved from a big city of Ukraine, from the west of Ukraine. It's Lviv. I moved to Canada 20 years ago, and since then I stay in Thunder Bay.
Great, thank you. So I've known you probably for that same length of time that you've been here in Thunder Bay, I think, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So this is the first year that Ukrainians will be celebrating Christmas on December 25th. And this is a big change, and I'm just wondering if you can tell us why this is happening.
The change in celebration of Christmas in Ukraine to December is due to influence of the Gregorian calendar, and which is widely used most of the countries around the world. And actually, the change is happening because Ukrainian people are willing to celebrate Christmas with all of the Christians, I'm going to say Catholic Christians in the world, and they would like to have the same day as December 24th. The Julian calendar has a discrepancy of 13 days compared to the Gregorian calendar, and meaning that Christmas in Ukraine used to be celebrating in January 7th. But just because Ukrainians still want to be more, I'm going to say, like as a Catholic people and Catholic Christians, they really would like to move the day to December. But it's not only about that, it's also, I'm going to say that change in the celebration of Christmas in Ukraine to December, it was coming a long, long time. And Ukrainian wants to be associated with all of the Catholic Christians in Europe and in the world, and not be associated with their enemy Russia. And whereas the Russian Orthodox Church has spoken in support of Russia attack on Ukraine, and as in December 25th, it's a result of the, I'm going to say that what's happening in Ukraine, and that's why it's going to be our first Ukrainian Christmas in December 24th, 2023, 2024. And I wish, honestly, it's happened a long time ago, but it's going to bring a big joy for people to celebrate December 24th, Christmas, as the first Christmas in their life with the whole world.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. So you're saying December 24th, and a big reason why Oksana is referring to Christmas Eve is because Ukrainians celebrate Ukrainian Christmas Eve as a bigger event than actually Christmas Day. So December 24th is a very significant date for us. So one of the things that I liked growing up was having two Christmases. So I used to like going to school and talking to people about having Christmas on December 25th and then Christmas on January 7th. And we always called it English Christmas. And English Christmas was more about the presents and Santa Claus. And January 6th, Christmas Eve, and January 7th was more about faith and family. And so now the opportunity is to combine that together and make it just as special and just as wonderful. Yes, it's going to be exciting this year. Mm-hmm. Now, there is a little bit of interesting challenge, I think, for people switching the calendars because we have names days on. I know in Ukraine, when I've been in Ukraine, names days were bigger and more celebrated than birthdays. And if you were born on, let's say, Saint Maria's Day or a saint's day, you were often given that name. But now if we're switching calendars, we're actually not switching our birth dates. So it might make for some confusion with people trying to decide when do you congratulate people on their name's day, their birthday? Do they stick with the old days, the new days? We're not going to change our birth dates, but...
It's right. It's right what you're saying, Katrusa, because actually the new calendar for the Gregorian calendar came this year in September. That's why it's going to be first year for people to celebrate their Angel Day, and it will be quite confusing for people, and it's going to be moved around like 13 days in front of what's happening. And as example, it can be, for example, Engine Day is December 13th for name Andrei. And if person was born, for example, on December 10th, they usually parents would like to give the angel name to that person. And right now, what's happening if Angel Day as Andrei is moved to November 30th, and it's a little bit confusing, and it's going to be first year that people need to readjust that. It will take time, but I'm pretty sure people will be happy to have their own calendar and own life with all of the people in the world.
That's right. And changing their date just means they might get to celebrate a new name's date and their birthday. So now they might get two big celebrations.
It's true too.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
right.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So before we speak about Christmas for Ukrainians, St. Nicholas Day is often considered the start of the, let's say, Christmas season in Ukraine or for Ukrainian Canadians or Ukrainians around the world. So we would have celebrated it this year on December 19th, but now we're going to be celebrating it on December the 6th. So this day for a lot of people includes the day that Ukrainians would get gifts, and mostly for children, right? So right. St. Nicholas Day is the big day and the big time for children. Do you want to tell us a little bit about St. Nicholas Day?
And you're absolutely right, Katrusa, because St. Nicholas Day it was a big celebration for especially children or young teenagers, because it's a big celebration that they are getting the present, and present actually we're putting under the pillow during the night when St. Nicholas comes and brings those on presents. But before to get the presents, children need to write letters with obviously parents help to write the letters and their wishes, what they want to have for a present, but not only material wishes. It always was something else that children would like to have a spiritual wishes, to have a house for the parents, for relatives. And the major present for all of the kids and children, it's need to be mandarins, nuts, and chocolate candy.
Yeah, so I remember actually celebrating St. Nicholas Day as a child in Canada, and we always got a bag with a mandarin or an orange in it and some candies, and always a lot of fun to have that. Now, one of the other things I remember too is St. Nicholas Day is an opportunity to talk to children about the saint and about the good he did and the kindness, and to learn from him so that we could replicate those behaviors as children and hopefully adults.
And it's absolutely right. That's why children believe in St. Nicholas, because the parents tell a nice story about how the St. Nicholas was kind and how the St. Nicholas did a good things in life to make children understand that what they need to follow in their life.
That's awesome. Thank you. So stay tuned. We're going to be right back to talk to you about some more of Ukrainian Christmas. Welcome back to Ukrainian Connections. Now we're going to talk about Ukrainian Christmas Eve. What is so special about it? So we often have 12 meatless dishes, and I'm wondering, why the number 12?
The number 12 for Christmas in Ukraine, it symbolizes the 12 apostles of the Jesus Christ. And I personally always cook 12 dishes just because it's how my mom taught me, and it's how I serve my table during the Christmas Eve supper.
So what do you make?
The main dish that I'm gonna say must be on the table, not should be. It's must be. It's a kutia, and actually, yes, we do have a kutia here, just to present how it looks like. I cook borscht, and I cook mushroom soup, pierogis or vareniki, голубцы with kind of different stuffing, and we need to have a fish on our table. We have a lot of mushrooms. It can be mushroom sauce. It can be even marinated mushrooms on the table. We do have herring. It's another sort of fish that we need to have on our table. We do lots of desserts too. It's a pampushki, hrustiki. I personally make poppy seed pie where I put lots of poppy seeds. Can be done with nuts too, on dry fruit. We always need to have, I'm not saying need to have, but it's what I do. I always make a uzvar, and uzvar it's made from dry fruits too, that we have it on our table. Also, we can make compote. We can put different, like in different regions of Ukraine, people do different stuff, but the main stuff is kutia. But people can do the same ways. They can have it beans, marinated beans, or like cooked beans on the table. They can have a sauerkraut salad. My mom always did on Christmas Eve vinaigrette, and people who understand that word, they know the vinaigrette it made with the beets and beans and sauerkraut, and it was lovely to have it. I miss that, obviously. I do not make vinaigrettes that often, but it was very special to remember this, how my mom did.
And just a quick question: is a vinaigrette like a cold
It's
dish?
a cold salad.
Like a salad.
It's a just salad.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And and we don't use the meat. It's only meatless. Need to be meatless dishes.
Okay. And then one thing that you didn't talk about was the goulash.
Oh my God, I forgot. I'm sorry.
It's always on the table, right?
Oh my God, it's always on the table. It's right.
So it's 3 stacks of bread that are braided. So I think in a lot of Ukrainian things, even when we make the sign of the cross, we do everything 3 times for the
Right.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and the tradition is always with the 3. So we have 3 stacks of bread, and each bread is braided with 3 strands, and it decorates the Christmas Eve table and is consumed during the meal, usually starting with the bottom one and leaving the top to stay pretty as long as you can. Yeah.
And it's right, Katrusa, because we actually, when we start our supper, we start with kutia and bread, and then we do eat whatever what we have on the table. It's correct, right?
So, Oksana, one of the things we did when I was growing up was my father, being the head of the house, always took a spoonful of the kutia, and after we said grace and prayed, and he would throw a spoonful up to the ceiling. Did your family do that?
I heard about that, but we never did in our region. Like, my family never did that.
Okay, so I grew up on a farm, and it was considered good luck if kernels stuck to the ceiling. So the more that stuck, the better your harvest would be of grapes. We had grapes on our farm, and apples, and when I was younger, there were cows and pigs and chickens, and so the cows would have better milk, the chickens would have better eggs, that kind of stuff. And I seriously think my mother, when she served the kutia in his bowl, she put extra honey so it would stick even
better.
more to the ceiling. So when I moved into my own house, I continued with that tradition, but I usually try to wipe it off within a day because the kutia and honey tends to stain your ceiling. But I am wondering if the TV station would mind if we threw some kutia up onto the ceiling here. Maybe we can ask them later and give it a try for the best of luck and the best of harvest.
And we have extra honey here somewhere that we can actually add it, and
yes,
and it's going to stick better.
Great idea. Okay, so one of the things that is special about Christmas Eve is how you set your table. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Before I set my table, obviously we need to find a nice Ukrainian tablecloth. This is kind of it's need to be some things that represent our table. And I brought actually to show people on each corner of the table, we set up a garlic, apple, poppy seeds, and nuts. And each of this represents, it's a kind of like a talisman that wish for us health, prosperity. Nuts, it's for friendship and love in the family. And apple, it's a good harvest for the next year. And I actually heard that other people put coins. It's for good fortune.
Wishing good fortune. So at your table on Christmas, these would actually be under the tablecloth on each of the 4 corners, and ward off evil, bring health, prosperity, friendship, and love. That's awesome. Yeah. And what about down here on the ground? I don't know if the camera can catch it right this moment, but when I was growing up, we often had straw put under the table or under the tablecloth, sort of to represent the manger where Jesus was born. When my mom was growing up, she would have nuts and candies mixed in with straw under the table, and they would crawl under it. Now, what did you do when you were a kid? Did you have straw under your table?
When I was a kid, we used to go with my parents to my grandparents because they used to live in a village, and it's actually traditionally that parents goes to visit their parents, and it's where they have a supper. And every time when we were coming to that village for a Christmas Eve, for a Christmas summer, my grandfather, he was like cleaning the floor with a straw, and like you said, it was not there or another treat for kids. And we were kind of we as the children, we sat under the table and we were playing and clocking, and we were clocking for the chicken to have would lay eggs better, and we were muscles for the cow to have better milk or more milk next year, and it was lots of fun, and it's a special memory. It's a very special memory for me too.
So you acted like animals under the table.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. What was your favorite animal?
It was a cow, it was a chicken too, and it was like co or moo.
Okay.
And it was fun. It was fun. It's a good memory.
That's wonderful. Thank you. So stay tuned. We're going to come back and talk to you about Christmas Day and beyond. Welcome back to Ukrainian Connections, where we're sharing with you about how Ukrainians or some Ukrainians celebrate the Christmas season. So when we set up for Ukrainian Christmas, for Christmas Eve and for the holiday season, we have a beautiful decoration called the diduk. And this is very important. The words mean the souls of our ancestors. Dido means grandfather. So it's a time during the holiday season where we welcome the spirits and the memories of our loved ones and our family members that have passed before us. So it's beautiful to have it, usually in the room that we're eating in. So now we're going to talk a little bit about something very special that Oksana has on the table to her left. I see some beautiful bowls there. Can you explain what this is?
This is bowl, it's called makitra, and it's very important to have it makitra in your home because this is how we grate the poppy seeds to make ready for kutia. And how it's graded, you put poppy seeds here and you need to mix it, and it takes very long to mix it to make sure that poppy seed is nice and soft. And then we added cooked wheat. We added poppy seeds, we do nuts, and mix it everything together and make it beautiful kutia that we have for our Christmas Eve supper.
Wonderful. So what's special about your makitra?
This makitra is really very special for me. It came with me to Canada 20 years ago, but actually this makitra is 30 years old, and I got this makitra for me when I had my first Christmas supper by myself with my family, when I tried to do, as a family, my Christmas supper.
Okay, so it's well traveled and it's well used.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So on Christmas Day, traditionally Ukrainians would eat a lot of the food that they've had Christmas Eve, but they could also eat meat. So they could have roast beef, roast ham, kubasa, any kind of meat, hishke, studenets, holodets.
Yes, studenets, holodets обов'язково.
Yeah, which is like a jellied pig's feet or jellied chicken's feet. And Ukrainians love that. It's great with vinegar on it and lots of carrots. That's how I like it.
I just want to add it. It's a lot of food on next day, because you have lots of leftover, plus you have lots of meats and different stuff that we eat on Christmas Day.
Right. And so over the Christmas holidays, we're caroling a lot. And often when we carol, we carry a big star and we ring bells and we go door to friends and family and we sing. And that leads us up to the New Year's, which is actually the feast of Melania and Vasil. And during that time, we switch our singing. Instead of singing Christmas carols, we sing Щедрик.
Yes.
And Щедрик means?
It's called Щедрівка. And Щедрівка, it's usually only girls go from house to house next day on, after supper, because actually you're going щедрувати on evening day or on evenings or next day, and it's only girls. And Щедрівка, it's girls wish the family and relatives health and love and good next year.
Okay, and the word Щедрівка comes from the stem root of щедрі, which is generous and all giving.
Yes.
So you're giving good wishes to everybody. That's beautiful. And so for St. Vasil Day, you mentioned to me when we met earlier that men would do the caroling and bring wheat into people's houses and throw it on their floor?
Yes, and it's happened in Ukraine, and it's still very popular in this time. And it's usually a small kids or teenagers. They go with the wheat and they throw it on the floor in the house, and they sing like they sing the good wishes for the family.
Okay, that's so much fun.
I even gonna add it like they saying like see you посіваю, з Новим роком вас вітаю. It's because it's a kind of another new year for Ukraine, how we used to celebrate, and this year is going to be the same. It's going to be January 1st, and it's great.
Good, good. And then the next feast is the Feast of Yordan, which is celebrated with food similar to what you have on Christmas Eve. And this is the baptism of Jesus that you're celebrating, where you'd also bring your family together and go to church and have a special day.
It's right. We have a supper at night, at evening, and then we go to church in the morning to get water. Like holy, water blessed, and it's how we start our day with drinking water and having breakfast and with family.
Wonderful. So before we end our show today, Oksana has agreed to dress in one of the goat heads that we have from Malanka. So usually when you're caroling, you would carry around the star and bells, and you could dress up in the nativity characters of dressing as one of the wise men. But on Malanka, there's a lot of mummery and pranking and dressing up as animals and different characters. So we happen to have a beautiful goat head here that was made by my youngest daughter, and Oksana's going to model it for us. And I know she's an expert of giving animal calls under the table, so maybe she can give us a goat call there.
Yeah.
There, what do you think? On TV Land. Thank you for joining us today on Ukrainian Connections. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Христос рождається, славіте Його.
Христос рождається, славіте Його.